The roster is still in Europe, so this week's show had another early start time of 3 p.m. Eastern for fans in the United States. Two big title matches were scheduled for yesterday's show at the SSC Arena in Belfast, Northern Ireland. First, Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch had a rematch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Then we saw Finn Balor challenge CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship in a match many fans have wanted for years. They have been in 2 Royal Rumbles and 1 6-man tag match, but this was their first one-on-one encounter. Let's take a look at everything that happened on last night's Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Hey there, welcome everybody to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and Streamy.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the Phenom Michael Bullock. Before we get into Monday Night Raw, I do want to put something out here. I am not going to be doing a formal review of TNA Genesis, but what I am going to do is I am going to share the results of the show. I was unable to see the show, some technical difficulties on my end, and among other things, but I was able to catch most of it. Yes. So with that being said, let's here are the results of Genesis from this past Saturday. From the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland, Texas. And we started it off with 2 pre-show matches. First was a 4-way match for the TNA International Championship. The champion, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, with his fiancee Ariana Grace. They went up against he went up against KJ Orso, BDE, and Eric Young. Winner of the match, 6 minutes and 23 seconds. And still the TNA International Champion, it is Channing Stacks Lorenzo. Knockouts tag team action. Indy Hartwell and Vicious Vicky Venuto, they teamed up to take on Tessa Blanchard and Mila Moore. Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford in the corner of Tessa Blanchard and Mila Moore. Tessa Blanchard and Mila Moore winning the match, 7 minutes and 55 seconds. Now we go to the main card. The battle of former first-class brethren here. It was Rich Swann squaring off against AJ Francis. AJ Francis wins the match, 12 minutes and 19 seconds. Then we had Mustafa Ali with Order 4 in his corner. They went up against Elijah. Mustafa Ali wins the match, 9 minutes and 35 seconds. The final match in the career of Johnny Dango Curtis. He went up against his system brethren, Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards winning the match in 17 minutes and 16 seconds. Intergender matchup, Mara Sade versus Ryan Nemeth. Ryan Nemeth winning the match in 5 minutes and 21 seconds. Knockouts championship on the line. The champion, Lei Ying Lee, with Zaya Brookside in her corner, defending against Zarya, Sol Ruca in Zarya's corner. Winner of the match in 14 minutes and 23 seconds. And still the TNA Knockouts champion, it is Lei Ying Lee. TNA World Tag Team Championships on the line. The Righteous, Vincent and Dutch, challenging the Hardys, Matt and Jeff. Winners of the match, 12 minutes and 40 seconds. And still the TNA World Tag Team Champions, it is the Hardys. 3-way match, Moose versus Cedric Alexander versus Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry winning the match in 15 minutes and 21 seconds. And in the main event of the evening, a return match from the TNA, from the Impact premiere last Thursday night on AMC. Mike Santana defending the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Frankie Kazarian in a Texas death match. Nick Nemeth, special guest referee. Winner of the match, 19 minutes and 13 seconds. And still the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, it is Mike Santana. Nick Nemeth tried to cash in after the match, but was unable to. He got laid out by a spin the block before the referee could get to the ring. Before a TNA referee could get in the ring anyways. So So that is that. That's the story when it comes to TNA Genesis. A lot of people saying that it was a far better show than the premiere edition of Thursday Night Impact on AMC. So so those are the results from that. My apologies for not being able to do a formal review. Technical difficulties with the feed and among other things, but so that's that. So now let's move on to Monday Night Raw from the SSE Arena in Belfast, Northern Ireland on Netflix. A special start time of 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll tell you right now, next week we'll be back to the normal time of 8 p.m. Eastern, as always, when it emanates from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, at the Scotiabank Arena. So, all right, I believe that covers all the house cleaning here for now. Anyways, we do have more in the form of sending up the content for next week's show. So let's get into Monday Night Raw, and we started it off with an in-ring segment, as it was the Ring General Gunther. The Ring General was all smiles as he made his way to the ring to a chorus of boos and chants of "You tapped out." He only spoke for about a minute before he was interrupted by AJ Styles, who challenged Gunther to a rematch at the Royal Rumble. Gunther said he plans to win the Royal Rumble match and does not feel like pulling double duty. AJ accused him of being scared, which finally took the smile off Gunther's face. The career killer said he would do the rematch if AJ Styles puts his career on the line. Styles didn't give him an answer, and Gunther walked off to let him think about it to end the segment. Decent exchange between two rivals to set up their next encounter. It was nothing really groundbreaking, but they played their parts well. And trying to end other careers is a good way to keep Gunther busy while he is not chasing a title. The gimmick works perfectly for him. He can already say, "I've retired both Bill Goldberg and John Cena." So will AJ Styles be next? Well, later in the show, after deliberating and thinking about it and talking to his wife, Wendy, AJ Styles made the decision, and he said, "Adam Pearce, make it official." And Adam Pearce does indeed do that. We could basically call this a career-threatening match. Gunther versus AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble on January 31st in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Styles wins. His career is safe. If Gunther beats him again, it's the end of the line. It will be the end of the career of the phenomenal AJ Styles. Career that started in TNA. As we all know, he's the man who, you could say, he was the heart and soul of TNA. The man who really put TNA on the map. And TNA wouldn't be where they are right now without him, for sure. And then, of course, with his career in Japan, he went to Japan, all that with the Bullet Club. And then 10 years ago, making his WWE debut in the Royal Rumble match, when he came out as the number 3 entrant. Orlando lost their minds when he came out. We all remember that. And you thought he was great in TNA. He was just as great here in WWE. So, and then I know he did some stuff with Ring of Honor. I know he did some stuff with them. And, well, all of that could be over if Gunther should defeat him again at the Royal Rumble. So, decent segment there. But man, oh man, you want to talk about a hell of a sell for the Royal Rumble. I mean, you've already got the Rumble matches itself. The men's and women's Royal Rumble match. You got Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship against whoever wins that 4-way Saturday night on Saturday night's main event. I mean, very exciting stuff to think about it. So very interesting. I mean, we knew this was going to be AJ's final year. I didn't think it was going to end this quickly. I thought they would let him ride it out till the end of the year like they did with Cena. So we'll see what happens. So not much more. MF, Gunther, AJ Styles, Royal Rumble. But it's a career-threatening match for the Phenomenal One. He loses, his phenomenal career is over.
It's over. Yeah, no doubt about it. This is a very dangerous situation for AJ Styles. If you're a fan of AJ Styles, you're kind of a little worried because Gunther has been responsible for, Goldberg and for John Cena. So you start fearing that maybe AJ Styles may be on the verge of the same fate. And I think this time around, I don't think it's going to happen. I think AJ's going to win this match. I do believe that, I would be stunned if AJ Styles' career ends right here at the Royal Rumble. I don't think they're going to do it at Rumble. I think it's going to be at Mania. So I got AJ winning this fight, and I think that it's going to set up a rubber match down the line. So I think career threatener, and I think AJ goes over to set up the third and final encounter at WrestleMania. At that point, I think it might be the end of AJ. But yeah, there's really nothing more to add. Michael Bullock, this was a solid promo, but I'm going out on a limb. I'm calling for AJ to win this match. So it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna go with AJ Styles to obviously win as well because, like you said, I mean, I think it's too soon for him to lose and have his career end. I mean, it's going to happen eventually. It just won't be at the Royal Rumble. So I know people are thinking, oh, Gunther's going to retire another guy. Well, for all you Gunther fans, it's not going to happen. I mean, I will be shocked if they pull the trigger on this at the Royal Rumble. So we'll see what happens. So solid segment. It's yours, Florio.
And we move on to our first match of the night. For the Women's Intercontinental Championship, the champion, Becky Lynch, defending against the former champion, Maxine Dupri. Winner of the match in 11 minutes and 35 seconds, and still the Women's Intercontinental Champion. It is Becky Lynch, and it was because of Natalya. Natalya turned her back on Maxine Dupri and literally helps Becky Lynch retain the title. She puts Becky's foot on the rope. Maxine couldn't believe it. She was stunned. She was like, after everything you've done for me, why are you doing this to me? Why are you turning it back on me? And then, bam, manhandle slam by the man. And Becky Lynch is still the Women's Intercontinental Champion. She retains the title in 11:35. MF, well, Natalya, the difference maker. She helps Becky Lynch defeat Maxine Dupri in 11:35, and could this be what gets Maxine Dupri to that next level, a feud with one of the veterans of all time in Natalya?
Yeah, but the thing is that it also could lead to Natalya. Maybe she becomes the new leader of American Made. Because if you notice something during the whole situation prior to that incident, guess who was in the backstage area that was watching Maxine and Natalya together?
American Made.
The Creed brothers and Ivy Nile.
Exactly. So what if this is a setup for them to kind of link together? And remember, this is not really Natalya we're looking at. If you saw the way that she started beating down on Maxine, this felt like the low-key legend. This felt like Natty Neidhart. This felt like a different Natalya. I don't think this is really Natalya we're looking at. I think this is Natty that we're seeing. And if this is really her bringing that element out, oh, Maxine, you're in for the fight of your life. So I kind of feel like this is going to be an interesting dynamic. Obviously, you wanted her to be a sympathetic figure, and they did it very well. But I also noticed something wasn't right. It looked like, I don't know if it was because a creative made a mistake or somebody from production kind of made an error here, but because I felt like something else was supposed to happen and it never really did. It kind of left me hanging. I'm like, was somebody else supposed to show up? Was somebody else supposed to get involved here? What's going on? It kind of felt a little 3 stars for the match. Solid fight. Yes, there was a little bit of mistakes here and there. It wasn't perfect, but the post fight, it felt good in some ways, but I also felt like maybe something else was supposed to happen, but we didn't get all of it. I don't know why. So yeah, 3 stars, Bullet, go.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I'll give this 3 stars as well, but I mean, the moment, the thing is, backstage when Natalya showed up and to show her support for Maxine, I don't know about you, Florio, but I had this sneaky suspicion that something was going to go down.
I did too.
That Natalya was probably going to turn on her, and as soon as I saw it happen, I'm like, yep, I saw it. I could see it coming, and if it's the Natalya that Fletch was just talking about, oh, Maxine is definitely going to be in for the fight of her life, because that Natty Neidhart is the one you do not want to F around with. So yeah, 3 stars. And now here's another thing too, because and maybe Natalya turned on Maxine because who was the one that helped Maxine become the Women's Intercontinental Champion?
AJ Lee.
Yeah, and maybe, and this is something that just crossed my mind. Maybe Natalya's like, after everything I did for you, you relied on someone else to help you? Just a thought.
It's possible.
I mean,
That would make sense if you're Natalya to say that. But if you really think about it, AJ Lee didn't really cause any trouble. Yeah, she distracted Becky Lynch, but AJ Lee never really physically got involved in the match. She just skipped her pretty little self out at ringside, but she never really got like that close to the ring. If you remember the match,
Michael, I remember that.
She was a good 10 to 15. She was about a good 10 to 15 feet away from the ring. But I get your logic. It would make sense though for Natalya to say that.
Well, we'll see what Natalya says whenever she explains herself. If she does bring that up, then we'll say, oh yeah, I was definitely right on this, but we'll have to wait and hear from Natalya whenever she speaks. So 3 stars, it's yours, Florio.
This might not end up on many lists of the best matches of the week, but before that, let me just say this though. Even though she might not be at the level of a lot of main roster talents, you could see a marked improvement in Maxine Dupri's in-ring ability since this feud began. Working with a veteran like Becky Lynch on the road has likely helped, but training with Natalya is not just part of the storyline. Dupri has been putting in a lot of work to improve, and it has certainly helped. She looked more confident in the way she moved around the ring, and having Becky as a dance partner helped her look even better. This might not end up on many lists of the best matches of the week, but it might be the best they have done since this feud began. And part of the reason why is that they had the fewest awkward moments and mistakes during this one. Natty's betrayal of Maxine was predictable, but it was done well. Having Maxine see it right in front of her eyes before turning around and taking The manhandle slam was a good way to tie up this feud while beginning a news story for Natty and Maxine. And Natalya attacked Dupree after Lynch had left with the title, officially turning her heel and kicking off a feud with her and Maxine. The crowd was on Maxine's side as the Queen of Hearts beat her down mercilessly. And it's wild that Becky and Maxine have had 6 television matches since August. European wrestlers are almost always cheered in their home country, whether they are a heel or babyface, but Becky got a lot of boos this week. Dupree is starting to take more risks in the ring, and it has benefited her quite a bit. And that's all there is we can say on that. So 3, teetering on 3.25 for this one. So there's not really much more to add to that. So we're just going to go ahead and move on to our next matchup. There was a lot of backstage stuff. And then Jey Uso made his entrance through the crowd. And he declared himself as an entry. And by the way, Gunther also declared for the Royal Rumble during that opening promo that was interrupted by AJ. Gunther's in the Royal Rumble match. The man who won last year's Royal Rumble. Main event, Jey Uso. His music hit in the arena. He made his way to the ring through the crowd, gave a quick promo from the stands about declaring himself for the Royal Rumble. And an opportunity for Jey Uso to become only the 5th man in history to win back-to-back Royal Rumble matches. Hulk Hogan in 90 and 91. Shawn Michaels, 95 and 96. Stone Cold in 97 and 98. And most recently, Cody Rhodes in 2023 and 2024. So we shall wait and see what happens. And then 6-man tag team action division. Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. Paul Heyman in their corner going up against Rey Mysterio, Penta, and Dragon Lee. And it was the babyface team, Rey Mysterio, Penta, Dragon Lee. They win the match in an even 15 minutes. Adam Pearce himself sat at ringside to ensure no chicanery. And then it was announced later in the show that he, well, not really announced, but he asked Paul Heyman, bring Braun Breaker to Raw next week so I can talk to him man to man. There's a hook right there for Toronto next week. But for right now, Rey Mysterio, Penta, and Dragon Lee, they win this match in an even 15 minutes. So Michael Bullock, Mysterio, Penta, and Dragon winning the match in an even 15 minutes. And Adam Pearce asking Paul Heyman, bring Braun Breaker to Raw next week so I can talk to him man to man.
That should be telling to see what happens with the meeting with Braun Breaker and Adam Pearce next week. So we'll see. I'm gonna give this about 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. I mean, this was definitely one of the top fights of the night, if not the top fight of the night. So, I mean, it's what we expected out of this, and obviously, Adam Pearce wanted to make sure that those brass knuckles weren't involved in the match. So he made sure of that, and that's what eventually led to them winning the match. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 3.5 to 3.75 of a star for me as well. This was a fast-paced match with some fun spots and creative moments involving all of the competitors. This is the kind of bout that's hard not to enjoy because it had so many fun exchanges. Mysterio, Penta, Dragon, they were the stars of this bout. Okay. The stars of this bout thanks to their high-flying offense, but the Vision looked good also. The crowd was hot from start to finish for this one. Adam Pearce prevented Austin Theory from using the brass knuckles and argued with Paul Heyman at ringside. The GM dropped him, so Rey ended up using the knucks on Theory, allowing Penta to hit the Mexican Destroyer on him for the win. And Logan Paul has gotten better at the little things between big spots. And that's one of the only few things that we got to hype out of that. And then there was also a moment with Rey, and also I can also confirm Rey Mysterio, Penta, and Dragon Lee. They've all thrown their names into the men's Royal Rumble match. Rey Mysterio, former winner, 20 years ago. Can you believe that was 20 years ago when Rey Mysterio won the 2006 Royal Rumble? The most unlikely Rumble winner, maybe of all time. Although you can make an argument, Jey Uso last year just as unlikely, but they got us good on that. So but yep. So that's all I can really add to it. 3.5 to 3 3/4. I'm gonna say second best fight of the night on this. There was one I thought was better. You know where I'm going with it. So not much more. MF, Rey Mysterio, Penta, Dragon Lee. 15 minutes, they win the match. And Adam Pearce and Braun Breaker, man-to-man meeting next week.
Yeah, we'll wait and see how that plays out. That's gonna be very interesting to watch. Yeah, 3.25, 3.5, no doubt about it. I thought this was the second best fight of the night. It was a solid matchup. I thought they did a really good job with it. So we'll see how it plays out. And yeah, there's really nothing more to add. And Anthony, it's yours.
All right, then we have another promo segment here. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, the women's tag team champions, they came out to hype their title match coming up at Saturday night's main event against Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Ripley says they had the Judgment Day's number and they'll retain the titles before both women focus on the Royal Rumble. As expected, Liv and Roxanne came out to issue a response. Liv said Rhea is going to turn on Io because that is what she always does to her partners. Raquel Rodriguez attacked Ripley from behind to kickstart a 3-on-2 assault. Judgment Day ended up getting the better of Rhea and Io. Felt like a copy and paste segment we have seen hundreds of times in WWE. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything to write home about either. They weren't given much to work with, so you can't blame the talent for a lack of material. But they did announce that Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez have all entered the Women's Royal Rumble match. So Rhea Ripley, a former winner in her own right, winning that in 2023 from the number 1 position. Oh, by the way. So we'll see how that plays out. Javon Evans goes one-on-one with El Grande Americano. El Grande Americano wins the match 6 minutes and 20 seconds via a referee stoppage. It was an injury. So, with all due respect, I think we're all in agreement. We should all be in agreement on this. No rating for this. So, we're going to NA this. I mean,
Agreed.
Yep. You noticed Javon Evans was down outside the ring and El Grande Americano was declared the winner. It appears that Evans suffered a real injury and was escorted out of the arena by medics and officials. And due to the real-life injury, obviously, we will not be doing a rating for this match. We do wish Javon Evans the best in his prognosis and recovery. They did say that, I know there was an update saying that, nothing serious. So,
yep. They are saying that it was a possible. They're saying that it may be a possible concussion, but they're not confirming it. However, they did say that Javon did not suffer a serious injury, not a neck injury, nothing shoulder-wise. It looks like maybe he kind of landed wrong and probably got his bell wrong, is what they're saying. But they are playing on the caution of safe, rather be safe than sorry on Javon. So they're gonna protect him a little bit here. So he may have to sit out at least a week or two before he gets back into the ring.
Okay, so we definitely wish Javon Evans the absolute best, and we're hopeful that he'll be ready to and we can't wait for him to get bouncy once again. So all right, that leads us to before we set the table, well, actually no, they only talked about Saturday night's main event, which we will get into Saturday night as part of the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. I'll address the other future content in a little bit. So nothing to hype for next week's Raw other than this man-to-man meeting with Adam Pearce and Braun Breaker. Main event of the evening for the World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, CM Punk, defending against Belfast, Ireland's own Finn Balor. Winner of the match in 16 minutes and 15 seconds. And still the World Heavyweight Champion. It is CM Punk. Fight of the night here. No doubt about it. They had a pretty clean exchange during the first half. They were focusing more on mat wrestling than striking. It was just a matter of time before they started throwing chops and punches. The Irish crowd firmly in Finn Balor's corner as he started building up a head of steam. The fans were all on their feet when Finn Balor kicked out of the GTS. This was a well-paced match that didn't try to be anything more than a good showcase for two talented wrestlers. It was especially nice to see Finn work as more of a babyface again after spending these last few years as a heel. CM Punk kicked out of the coup de grace and managed to hit GTS for the win, crushing the dreams of thousands of Irish folk at the same time. They had the crowd on the edge of their seats, but you could feel the energy drop in the crowd the moment Punk won, which is to be expected under these circumstances. Punk offered Balor his hand to help him up and held his arm up as a show of respect after the match. They hugged and the show ended with Punk celebrating his win. Whether this leads to a permanent face turn for Finn Balor remains to be seen. Bringing back Finn Balor's old entrance theme, very smart choice. And that's all I can really say about it. I mean, give this about 4 to 4.25 stars. Fight of the night for me. No big surprise. We knew this was going to be a banger. We also knew that Punk was going to retain the title. That would have been a cool moment. That would have been an awesome moment if had Balor won the title in front of his countrymen, but not to be. But I do believe within the next year or so, I do believe Finn Balor will be a world heavyweight champion. I can feel it. I think it's been too long, and especially after that Universal run only ended after one night because of that injury that he suffered against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2016. So really all I can say on this. So excellent match, 4 to 4.25 stars. MF, once again, Finn Balor so close yet so far away.
Yeah, and that's the moral of the story on that one, is that it is so close but so far away. But, like you said, 4 stars, fight of the night, total agreement on everything you said. This may be the way you can get Balor out of Judgment Day. I think after this match and with everything that went down, this may lead to Balor finally getting his ticket out of Judgment Day. I kind of feel like if there was ever an avenue to try to turn Balor, this may be it. So, there was a time where we thought Balor was going to turn and that they were going to have him leave Judgment Day, and then they did it. Then there was a moment where we thought Dom was going to turn babyface and that he would leave Judgment Day, but they haven't pulled the trigger on that either. So, I don't know. But now I think it might end up being Balor leaving first out of Judgment Day more than anything else because of everything that went down. So, yeah, it's gotten very interesting to say the very least. So, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 4.25 fight of the night, no doubt about it. I mean, Finn Balor definitely gave his best efforts, and but in the end, Punk retains the title. I mean, Punk showing respect for Finn Balor, and this was the Finn Balor. I'm sure this was that Punk wanted to see because, like he said last week, if the Finn Balor that he saw in front of him, if he brought that, then he would wipe the floor of a Finn Balor. But this is the one he brought. I mean, yes, he came up short, but yeah, I could definitely see Finn Balor becoming a babyface and getting kicked out of the Judgment Day because, and guys, you know who I think is going to lead the charge of kicking Finn Balor out.
Liv Morgan.
Because what did Liv Morgan say?
She wanted to see the Finn Balor. She wanted Finn Balor, to put his best foot forward.
Yeah.
Stop clowning
and
around.
Bring the World Heavyweight Championship to the Judgment Day.
And unfortunately, he failed. He failed on that.
And he showed respect, and he had that moment of respect with Punk. Do you think that's going to sit well with Liv and them? I don't think so.
I don't think so. She's probably going to be like, Finn,
what was that
about at the end?
Yep.
By showing respect to CM Punk. You're not supposed to show respect for anybody.
Except us.
Yep. I can see it, guys. I can definitely see it. There's no doubt in my mind.
Especially when Dominic and JD come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more Dominic than anything else. JD's going to be stuck in a moment where he's going to be stuck in the crossroads where
he's going to be left a choice.
Where he's going to be left a choice, but I'm pretty sure he will side with Judgment Day and he will turn on Finn.
Yeah. I see that happening too. So nothing more to say. Overall thoughts time.
And I do believe it's good old MF Michael Fletcher who starts it off. So MF, overall thoughts from Monday Night Raw in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
I thought they did a really good job. I thought it was a solid show. I think they could have done a little better in certain areas, but I'm not going to be too harsh about it. I think, like I said, at the end of the day, everybody did their roles really well. I thought it was a very good show, to say the very least. So yeah, at the end of the day, I'll give this a solid 8 out of 10. I thought they did, they did a fine job with the show. I liked the action. I liked how everything flowed throughout the night. It felt like a very smooth 2.5 hours of Monday Night Raw. So yeah, good job, Northern Ireland. Thank you, Belfast. Now we come back to North America and we go to Toronto, Ontario. Can't wait to have it in Toronto next week. Bullock, go.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll give it about 8 out of 10 as well. I mean, they could have done better in some areas, but there really isn't that much to complain about. So 8 out of 10. Florio, you take it home for this edition of Raw before we get into NXT.
Even though it was a pretty average episode of Raw, the main event made it feel like a bigger show than usual. Javon Evans getting injured during his match with El Grande Americano put a bit of a damper on the show, but it had a couple of highlights. Maxine Dupree put on what might just be her best performance to date against Becky Lynch. The 6-man match had a bunch of fun spots, and the world title bout that closed the show was the first time CM Punk and Finn Balor have ever faced each other in a singles match. The show did a good job hyping Saturday night's main event this weekend, while also keeping the Royal Rumble in focus. As a whole, it was a standard episode of Raw, but the main event and the 6-man match are worth taking the time to watch. I'm actually going to give this right around that 7.5 to 8 threshold. So that's just my thought on it. So now let's get into NXT. All of the focus was on titles this week, as 3 matches were to determine future title shots, and one was for the North American Championship. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's NXT. After a video package to hype the show, General Manager Ava was shown telling security to keep an eye out for Tony D'Angelo tonight. And we get into our first match of the night for the North American Championship. The champion, All Ego Ethan Page, defending against the young man making his NXT in-ring debut, the French luchador, Elio Lafleur. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 16 seconds. And still the NXT North American champion. It is All Ego Ethan Page. I'll tell you what, personally for me, this is just a personal preference. While I would prefer title bouts serving as main events, WWE was smart to open the show with this bout because it brought the energy of the show up right away. LaFleur looked great in his debut match, and Ethan Page was a perfect choice as a veteran who could help bring him into the fold. LaFleur is only 26 years old, so he is just scratching the surface of what he will be capable of in his career. They made this a competitive fight that felt like it could go either way. All Ego was able to retain thanks to pulling the tights and getting the win on a roll-up, but LaFleur had him reeling. It would not be surprising if WWE decided to keep this feud going. And LaFleur has a unique look for his gear. But the mask, I think, could use a bit of an upgrade. It looks low budget compared to the other masked wrestlers in WWE, but he has lots of time to get better masks. So, but other than that little nitpick, solid 3.25, teetering on 3.5 stars. Solid way to start the show. No big surprise with Ethan retaining, but give it up for LaFleur. LaFleur could be a future stud this year, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on in 2026 for sure. So 3.25, 3.5 for me. So MF, Ethan Page successfully defending the North American Championship against the French luchador Elio LaFleur. Time of the fall 10-16. All Ego still the champ.
Yeah, All Ego still the champ. Solid matchup, 3 stars for me. And yeah, Elio LaFleur really shined in this matchup. If you got a chance to see him in AAA, that's where he originates from, AAA, and he's one of the young stars. You don't see him on the main shows. He's kind of more of a, Sin Límite, which is kind of their online episodes is where you get to see him, but he really stood out and impressed a lot of people in Mexico, and now they brought him up, and you saw the proof is in the pudding, as they would say. So yeah, pretty good matchup for him, but All Ego is just that guy. He is one of the best in the game and proved yet again why he is the North American champion. So the reign continues, and yeah, Michael Bullock, 3 stars, it's yours.
Yeah, 3.25, 3.5. Definitely a good jump off to this edition of NXT. I mean, yeah, his opponent definitely looked. He really impressed me in his debut. I mean, but obviously the outcome was never in doubt. I mean, All Ego Ethan Page has definitely shown everyone why he is the champ. So that's what it is. So. Nothing more for me to say, so let's move on.
All right. Let's see. Next up on the fight card. A qualifying match for, of course, as we all know, in 2 weeks on February the 3rd, there will be a 6-man ladder match to determine the brand new NXT champion after Obafemi vacated the title at the end of New Year's Evil against Leon Slater. The first qualifier, it was Shiloh Hill squaring off against Josh Briggs, and Shiloh Hill picks up the win. He defeats Josh Briggs 10 minutes and 41 seconds. MF, there's nothing left to say. I would definitely call this the biggest win of Shiloh Hill's young career, the winner of LFG Season 2. He defeats Josh Briggs tonight. He's in the ladder match. Think about this, MF. He's 1 win away from becoming NXT champion. What a story this would be if he does so.
Oh, absolutely, man. This would be a remarkable story, to say the very least, because then it changes the game as we know it. Great win for him, no doubt about it. This another 3-star bout. I thought it was a solid matchup, to say the very least, and I really got nothing more to add. Like you said, the sky's the limit for this young guy. So Michael Bullock, this is your guy, Shiloh Hill, trained by the Undertaker in LFG, and he's proven the dead man, and he's proven everybody else why he won this show, and another impressive performance.
And this is why the Undertaker was riding high with this young man, and he's proven it right here. So a 3-star match, definitely the biggest win for him. Could it lead to an even bigger win? Only time will tell. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Another 3 1/4, 3.5. This was one of those matches that didn't have any bad moments or spots, but it also didn't have anything to make it stand out. Didn't feel like there was as much urgency as there should be for a match that will put the winner in that ladder match for the NXT Championship. It looked like Briggs was going to win with a big choke slam, but Hill kicked out at the last second, and then Hill was able to hit a neck breaker for the win. As soon as the match was over, Tony D showed up and laid out both men. Ricky Saints on commentary. There was an awkward moment on commentary where it seemed like Vic Joseph expected Saints to say something, but there was just silence. Josh Briggs needs a change, but it's tough to say what it is. There's something missing that would make him a complete package, but I can't quite put my finger on it. But, it is what it is. So, 3 1/4, teetering on 3.5. Big win for Shiloh Hill. So far, so now it'll be him and Ricky Saints. 2 of the 4. We have another qualifier coming up a little bit later on. And then there'll be three qualifiers next week, and we'll do that when we set up next week's show. Tag team action. The Vanity Project. Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor. In their corner, of course, was the Evolve champion, Jackson Drake. They squared off against Uriah Connors and Kale Dixon of Chase U. And the winners of the match, 5 minutes and 38 seconds. It is the Vanity Project. They win the match. Let's see. All 4 of these guys are young and hungry, so it was an energetic match with a quick pace and some risky spots. Dixon and Baylor were the standouts with their performances, but all 4 guys did some good work. Swipe Right scores the win, and then that's pretty much it. I think this is one of those matches where I think we can move on from it. Give it a solid 2.5 for the effort. The Vanity Project. Being aligned with Ethan Page is smart. He could be a good guiding hand for the young trio. And that's pretty much all there is to say on that. So nothing really stand out from that. And then Keanu Carver from LFG forced to do a backstage interview, but he walked off before answering any questions. It would have been hilarious if he had pulled the Marshawn Lynch from the Super Bowl, where he said, I'm here so I don't get fined. It sounded like that to me. Jada Parker out next to cut a promo. Crowd cheered her heavily during her entrance, and you could tell the love from the fans got to her a bit. She talked about returning from injury and needing to let her hard work speak for itself. She spoke with emotion and enthusiasm about wanting to prove her doubters wrong while continuing to be true to herself. The lights dropped and Blake Monroe interrupted from the crow's nest. They talked some trash to each other, but they didn't exactly resolve their conflict. Parker's promo was strong and probably the best she has delivered since coming to NXT. Her feud with Blake Monroe could be a lot of fun if they properly book it. And when Parker was making her way backstage, you could tell that she heard the crowd cheer as soon as she came on screen because she struggled to hide a smile. And she got a little emotional and felt like part of this promo came from a real place. So that's really all I can say on that. So a good promo there. We move on now to the other qualifying match. The other qualifying match on this night. Sean Legacy squaring off against Eli Knight. And it was Sean Legacy winning the match in 10 minutes and 54 seconds. He's now he has qualified. So Michael Bullock, we started off with you here. Sean Legacy defeating Eli Knight, 10:54. You can add him now to the ladder match. Ricky Saints, Shiloh Hill, Sean Legacy. Just like with Shiloh Hill, biggest win of Legacy's career, could it lead to an even bigger win in 2 weeks?
We'll see. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks if that is the case. But about a 3 1/4 star match. Like you said, biggest win for Sean Legacy, but unfortunately after the match, Sean Legacy and Eli night were attacked by Tony D'Angelo again. And so much so that eventually Ava finally had enough and decided to have Tony D'Angelo arrested. So now the question is, guys, I mean, why is Tony D'Angelo going after the men that are trying to qualify for the ladder match? That's the thing I'd like to know.
I think you just answered your own question there, Michael Bullock. What is that ladder match for?
The NXT Championship. I think he's trying to send a message that the three that are in there are not worthy. That the only person who deserves that title more is Tony D'Angelo.
And let me say it right now, he's absolutely right. He deserves it. He's one of the cornerstones of the NXT brand. I'm sorry. Now that he is the one that should be running NXT. The Don has been working his ass off for the last few years, and he has been one of the biggest names in NXT. The reaction from the crowd says it all. This man deserves to be the one. He deserves to be the man. He deserves to be the NXT champion.
Hand.
Yes.
That
absolutely.
As his way of trying to say, hey, you should put me in this ladder match.
Yes.
Or I'm going to continue to wreak havoc. That's the thing. So it's yours, Florio. 3.25.
Yeah, 3.25 as well. I mean, you could tell there was mutual respect between these competitors. Much like Chase U and Swipe Right, these are young performers who are looking to make a big impression early in their run. So Legacy and Knight both put in some hard work to make this an entertaining match. Both men hit some big spots on the top rope that had the crowd chanting, "This is awesome." Knight went to the well one too many times, and Legacy took advantage with a twisting suplex for the pin and the win. Once again, Tony D showed up and took out both competitors once the match was over. Ava came out with the cops there and basically called for the cops to arrest Tony D. It'll be interesting to see if WWE allows Eli Knight and LA Knight to coexist, or if it forces Eli to change his name. If you try to Google Eli's name, LA's info comes up first. So and Ricky Saints back on commentary for this one, and that's all there is to say there. So 3 other qualifiers. We'll get into that. Actually, I think I'm going to set it up right now because we're just about ready to get into the main event of the evening. Backstage stuff, obviously, and okay, so we got some big matches coming up for next week, and we have 3 qualifying matches that are going to be taking place. Joe Hendry is going to go 1-on-1 with the Evolve champion Jackson Drake. I know that's one of them. We're also going to have Dion Lennox of Dark State, and he's going to be in another one. Yeah, they gave me limited information here, so I'll try to figure that one out. But I do know Joe Hendry is going 1-on-1 with the Evolve champion there, Jackson Drake. That is confirmed for next week. And Dion Lennox, I know he's in another one. And maybe I can find it here. Thought I had something, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out when we get there. Joe Hendry against Jackson Drake. That's one. Dion Lennox is in another, and I thought they were going to give me the information, but they gave me limited information, so I do apologize for that. Oh, wait a minute. I got it. Never mind. I got it. I apologize for the little awkward delay there. All right. Joe Hendry versus Jackson Drake Andre Chase versus Keanu Carver, and Miles Bourne versus Dion Lennox. And on top of that, gentlemen, Dark State will also be defending the tag team championship against OTM Out the Mud. So you can all four of those matches you'll see next week. Main event of the evening, triple threat tag team match. It served as a number one contenders match for the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships, currently held by the Elegance brand. That's Heather and M by Elegance. Fatal Influence, Laney Reed and Fallon Henley. They had the NXT Women's Champion, JC Jane, in their corner, going up against Zaria and Soruka, and the Ren QCC, Ren Sinclair, and the Evolve Women's Champion, Kendall Gray. Winners of the match, 12 minutes and 23 seconds, and the number one contenders for the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships, it's Zaria and Soruka. I got to call it. This was the fight of the night here. 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 of a star. Match had a lot of moving parts, which led to some sloppy moments, but the majority of the action was good. Soruka and Kendall Gray, easily the standouts, but all 6 women did solid work. JC Jane got involved and took out Kendall Gray at ringside. Zaria and Sol were able to get the win, but not without a little friction along the way, as we've been seeing. I mean, they had a tense moment backstage. They seem to be teasing the breakup again. But nonetheless, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Zaria and Sol winning the match in 12:23. So not much more. MF, Zaria and Soruka, they're going to get the first shots at M and Heather by Elegance for those TNA Knockouts Tag Team titles down the road, winning this triple threat in 12:23.
Yeah, and this was a thing that they were saying the whole time, that they were probably going to be the favorites to get the shot at the titles, and then here it is. They get the win, they get the shot. Now can they go all the way and get the belts? So yeah, this was a solid main event matchup. I thought they did a really good job. 3 3/4 to 4 stars is my rating for it. And Michael Bullock, is yours.
Yeah, 3 3/4, teetering on 4. This was definitely the fight of the night. I mean, these 3 teams definitely gave it their all, and yeah, you could definitely continue to see the friction with the Zaria and Soruka. So I think it's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. So we'll see. So there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on to overall thoughts.
And MF starts it off once again. So MF, NXT, your thoughts?
Yeah, a little better. Not too bad. I give this a 7 out of 10. I thought it could have been better in certain elements, but the action was pretty solid. So very good night, very good performance. I'm happy with the way NXT went, and nothing more to add. Michael Bullock, it's yours. 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 for me as well. I mean, you pretty much said it. So take us home, Florio.
Tonight's NXT was an eventful show. We saw 2 more guys qualify for the NXT title ladder match in 2 weeks. Tony D got arrested. A few Evolve talents had their first official NXT matches, and we got a couple of good performances along the way. Sean Legacy and Eli Knight, they had a fast-paced and high-flying bout that put both men on the map, but you can make an argument that the women stole the show, although Ethan Page and Elio LaFleur just as amazing. The main focus of the show was setting up future matches, so it didn't feel like we got anything too newsworthy, but the episode did a good job of balancing different priorities. Solid 7 out of 10. I agree with the ratings, so that's it. We're all done here for tonight. That'll put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We will be back with you again on Friday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, following SmackDown, NFL Friday. First order of business, our recap of the college football playoff national championship game, the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers. We'll talk about that at the start. And then the big double main event, our previews of the AFC and NFC championship games. The New England Patriots versus the Denver Broncos for the AFC championship. And then from there, the Los Angeles Rams will square off with the Seattle Seahawks for the NFC championship. So we'll do all that on Friday, and then Saturday, MF will have it right around that 10:30 threshold. It will be the Cerebral Smack Talk. I know there'll be we'll have TNA Impact, we'll have Friday Night SmackDown, and of course Saturday night's main event. Docket subject to change, of course. So that's generally what would be on it, but you never know. There could be some changes. So, but Saturday night's main event for sure. We'll see about the other stuff. So that'll be on Saturday, and then 1 week from tonight, we kick off Royal Rumble week, and it will be ridiculously raw. Monday Night Raw's go home show for the Royal Rumble, and of course, we'll also have NXT as well. So that's it. So until Friday night for NFL Friday, this is Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course, always and forever in spirit, our one and only Twisted Angel First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Lord of Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed rest of your week. And until Friday night for NFL Friday, you have been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and streaming.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long, and bye, everybody. Bye.